as Pastor Byron Daniel of Mount Zion Primitive Baptist Church offers an invocation and remain standing afterwards for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we pray. Almighty God, we honor your name and stand before you, offering you praises and thanks for 240 years as a country who is dependent upon your wisdom and divine intervention just to make it to this moment. Lord, as a country and as a state and as a city and as individuals, you mean everything unto us. Thank you for the gift of dedicated people who serve on this city council, for each person in every level of responsibility who has loved and defended the rights and dignity of the people they represent. Thank you, Lord God, for the gift of leadership we find in our mayor. Lord, we humbly pray for your presence in this meeting, and we request a breath of your great wisdom to use as issues affecting the whole and individuals of giving the attention needed to sustain us in these challenging days ahead. Lord, if you did it before, you can do it again. I was reminded, Lord, of Moses out of the Daily Bread this morning, how you stood with him. And Lord, if you stood with him, you'll stand with us. Help us to always trust in you. Oh Lord, our strength and shield, is in the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
If you would, please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Over the weekend, someone who is very well known to everyone here in the city, former Pritchard Police Chief and retired Mobile Police Officer, the Reverend Dr. Tyree Richburg, died. As you probably know, the 3rd Precinct was named in his honor. So if you would, a moment of silent prayer for Reverend Tyree Richburg, and then we will move on. Thank you for that. Would you also remain standing? Mr. Richardson reminded me of someone else who has been a longstanding supporter, has been here many times to offer the prayer for us, Paul Ingram, Reverend Paul Ingram. A lot of you all know his wife very well. That's Linda Ingram. Paul died recently, and the funeral was just last week. So if you would, one more time, just in your own way, a moment of silent prayer. Thank you.
Roll call, President Gregory,
Here.
Vice President Richardson,
Here.
Councilmember Manzi,
Here.
Councilmember Small,
Here.
Councilmember Williams,
Here.
Councilmember Daves,
Here.
Councilmember Rich. Here. Statement of rules.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Good to see you here. Looks like everybody survived the long 4th of July holiday weekend. I do see some people who look like they were out in the sun quite a bit. Just saw Casey come in, and she looks like she's one of those. Thank you for being here with us this morning. We continue to meet in our temporary home. This morning we met in the council's conference room for our pre-conference meeting, and we like that. I think everybody agrees that we will stay there even when we go back to the auditorium for our regular meetings. So from now on, we will be meeting for our pre-conference meetings upstairs on the 9th floor, which is right outside the council's offices. Today, we will take up the capital improvement plan for 2017, the fiscal year 2017. I know you've heard a lot about that. We've been working on this for months. Most of us have actually been working on it probably since we approved last year's set of projects. I know that our engineering department, our urban planning department especially, spearheaded by Diane Irby, and just really everybody within the administration has been working on this to develop the plan. Each of the council members worked closely with planning and engineering and everyone else in the administration to review the status of projects that were undertaken during the current fiscal year to identify the highest priority projects to take on during this coming year in each of our districts. And a lot of these will include road and sidewalk projects that make the streets safer for drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, upgrading city parks through some much-needed repairs and adding additional facilities to serve all of Mobile's citizens. Also tackling the long-standing flooding and drainage issues throughout the city. Much of this work is ongoing now and will continue on through 2017. One thing, of course, to add, and I know you hear a lot about this from Mr. Richardson, they will be tackling a lot of those ditches over in District 1. This will be the second year of projects that are funded through the CIP. This was set up by the council after voting to extend the penny sales tax, and that penny sales tax continues through 17 and into 18. We're all really excited about the work that's already been done. I think it's creating a lot of excitement throughout the city when people see this work going on. It's really just a very pleasant surprise when the roads are actually blocked because we're resurfacing, or they're blocked because we're getting drainage improvements done. It's something that hasn't happened in a very long time, as we all know that many of these projects, maybe all of these projects, have been backlogged for years. So we're excited about seeing these happen throughout the city. And again, all the result of citizens of Mobile investing in today and in our city's future. The projects make our city such a much better place to live for all of us and make our city more attractive to families and businesses looking for a place to call home. I also want to take another minute. You know, we can't say it enough because this has been a true work in progress. It's been very frustrating at times, I know, for Diane and her staff. But everyone came together through engineering, through planning, traffic engineering, public works, parks and recreation. Everybody came together to put this plan together. And we want to thank all of them for their patience with us, because we know we made some changes at the last minute. But I think the plan that we have today, that we look forward to passing today and getting started on today, is really terrific. And everyone will be very excited when you see what we have in store. A few other items to mention. On Thursday, the Church of the Living God will hold its 9th annual military tribute. It's a ceremony honoring more than 300 members of the military, including active duty, retirees, Guard, and Reserve. And then the Penelope House will hold an annual Strikeout Domestic Violence fundraiser at the Bay Bears game on Friday night. There were some other individual district events that we'll talk about a little later on during our announcements. For now, though, I do want to remind everyone about the rules of the council. They're very simple. Just please turn off all of your electronic devices. If you come to the podium to speak, you have 5 minutes. At the end of 4 minutes, you'll hear the buzzer sound. We ask that you give us your name and address for the record. If you have questions or concerns, please address those to me. I'm the chair, and I'll ask the appropriate council member or member of the administration to resolve that at that time. All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Merchant.
Approval of minutes of the meetings of June 21st and June 28th.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Good morning.
Good. It's July. Hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
It really is. At this time, I would ask Chief Pappas, Fire Medics Jerome Roberts and Tony Rutland to please come to the podium and face the City Council. It's just another opportunity to recognize some employees of the month. The story here is that on May 21st, Rescue 24 was at World Gym when fire medics Tony Rutland and Jerome Roberts witnessed a man collapse on a treadmill. After quick evaluation, they deemed that the patient was suffering a cardiac arrest. Paramedic Rutland rendered aid to the patient while Paramedics Roberts retrieved the necessary medical gear from the rescue unit. Paramedics Roberts returned to assist and monitor the situation. The patient soon regained consciousness. With their quick knowledge and knowledgeable reactions, Paramedics Roberts and Rutland were able to help the patient achieve a normal heart rhythm. Now, therefore, on behalf of all Mobilians and with our sincerest thanks, we are pleased to award this certificate of recognition to these paramedics as Firefighters of the Month for June 2016. me say this, they look at this as not doing anything special. But I guarantee you that gentleman whose life they brought back, he thinks that they're very special.
Very special.
And I know that he's grateful, as are all Mobilians, because we never know when it may be one of us that y'all do the same for us. So thank you very much.
Exactly.
I certainly hope everyone had an enjoyable 4th of July. To me, it's always, if you're involved with families, about creating memories. I was able to create some memories over this past weekend, spending time with my grandchildren. But also, there were a lot of people out at Battleship Park last night watching the fireworks and listening to the Pops band, which was just phenomenal. There's nothing like the patriotic songs that played by the Pops band, to be out there looking out over the bay and looking at the battleship in the background. Really, really grateful for our shoe station who contributed $15,405. I think it was, Bess, was it $1 for every pair of shoes?
It's a lot of tennis shoes.
Yeah. So a huge contribution from Shoe Station and a $5,000 contribution from Regions Bank. And I think we should all give them a round of applause for what they did. Council President Gregory pointed out about the CIP, the Capital Improvement Program. I'd like to give you just some highlights from what is on the agenda to be approved today. In the area of drainage, the city will be spending $2.5 million and resurfacing $4.6 million, sidewalks $1.4, and then traffic almost $1.6 million. Anybody that's interested in the specific projects, they will be put on the city's website. Diane, when will they be up? They're up now. So anybody that wants to see if a project in their area, their neighborhood has been done, is scheduled to be done, you can go to the website. And this year, what I just was speaking to was for next year, 2017. In 2016, we have already have contracts of $15 million of the $21 million that was approved by the city council. And as everyone certainly knows by this point in time, by the end of 2018, we will have spent $63 million of the taxpayers' money on capital improvements in the city, on sidewalks, drainage, resurfacing in our parks, and so forth. This Friday, Councilman Richardson and George Talbot and myself will be leaving for Farnborough to the what's referred to as the London Air Show, or the Farnborough Air Show. We'll be traveling with other delegates from the state as well as from the Chamber of Commerce. This is an opportunity for us to interact with those in the aviation and aerospace sector, many who already have a presence in Mobile, but it's an opportunity to continue to sell the city and the benefits from them locating in the city to bring, their companies and create jobs for our citizens. So we look forward to being there and hopefully continuing the relationships that have developed over the last 15 years and continue in a way that will be positive reflection on the great things that are going on in the city of Mobile. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Ms. Merchant.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Appeals, we have a request for a waiver of the noise ordinance at Lake Drive Tricentennial Park on July 17 from 2 to 5 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings, excuse me, today is a public hearing to rezone property at 2751 and 2752 McKinney Street, 521 Bayshore Avenue, and 1519 and 2810 Mill Street from B2 and I-1 to I-1.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this rezoning, please come to the podium. All right, with that then, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to rezone property at 1114 Caroline Avenue and 1111 Dolphin Street from B1 to R1 and B1.
Again, this is a public hearing, so if there is anyone who would like to speak to this, please come to the podium. Okay, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to consider the application of Tracell Lockett Hill, doing business as Harmony Transportation, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity for shuttle service.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to speak to this, please come to the podium. Well, all righty. Public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Charlie McCants.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Charlie McCants. I'm with the Mobile Bay Tornadoes. We are a ABA basketball team that's here in Mobile. I must say that we've been here for 3 years, and during the 3 years, one of our key objectives that I think that we've been able to achieve, but we really feel that we can really go farther. The objective of the team is being a part of the ABA. And 3 years, we've had the opportunity this past season, which ended in April, to win the Gulf Coast Division as a part of the ABA. This year, going into 2016 and 17 season, they will have over 105 teams nationwide, and they also have several teams overseas. When I brought the team here to Mobile, I had been working with a team in Gulfport, and I saw the opportunity to, since I'm originally from Alabama, to do something here in Mobile, because the team started here in 2010, but it didn't stay. One of the key objectives that I try to achieve with our program is to reach youth and get young men dreaming again, because so many of us, we start out with dreams as children, but they fall on the wayside because of life getting in the way. And with our program, it gives young men an opportunity to start dreaming again of playing professional sports and making an impact not only on their lives, but in the lives of young people. To give you an idea of some things that we're looking to do this year, we have several programs that we've been working on for the past 3 years that's catered solely to children, because we know that children cater to sports. And we are trying to take the young men that play with the team and get them back into the community to make an impact as mentors. Some of the programs that we do, we have a bullying program. It's called Bullies Are Cowards. We have a Books for Basket, where we encourage kids to read by giving them tickets to come to the game. We also have a mentoring program to where we encourage young people to stay in school. And with that, we call it Get One, Help One. Because we know that all of these things make an impact in the community. In addition to that, we are reaching out to a combination of 40 nonprofit organizations and groups, because we know that they are already involved in the community, and we can use them through collaboration to help us reach young people within the community, because we know that with all of the violence and things that's going on, that we need to reach those kids when they're small to help them to change their mindset and create a positive move and make a contribution to the community. And that's some of the things that we are using the players for. But another thing that I looked at with the players is that to get them more involved into the community, because they live there. All of the players that we've had for the past 3 years are from the Mobile and local area. So we want to get them back into the community. For the past couple of months, since school has been out, I've been talking to young men in the age of 18 and above. And the reason why I say 18 and above is because to play on our team, they have to be 18 and above and out of school. The key thing that I was trying to find out in my research is what caused young people to do the things that they do within the community, as far as violence, or as far as robberies and fights and things like that. And one of the key things that the majority of them said is that a lack of finances to be able to do the things that they need to do in their lives. So to take that a step further, I know that you guys are always working to create more jobs in the community. So here's a program that we're looking to do, starting out with the players. We have tryouts for our team the 16th of July at LaFleur High School, because we are preparing for the coming season. But what we're looking to do with the players is we're looking at setting up training sessions with them to be able to trade options. And you probably might say, why trade options? Because it gives them an opportunity to learn how to do something to change their lives that doesn't impact them having a job. But what it also does is that it gives them the opportunity to create income to be able to handle their expenses, and the time involved is they have total control over the amount of money that they make. And it's just a training experience that we're looking at doing with them, and then taking the team and start reaching other young men within the community. Because if we can do that, then we're going to get a lot of young men that has nothing to do, that's out on the streets doing things that they shouldn't do. And then we want to take that one step farther with the workshops that we want to do, is to help them create a more positive mindset to make contributions and give back to the community. So those are just some of the things that we're looking to do this coming fall. And I have a request to you, is that for the past 3 years, we've extended an invitation for you to come to our games. And we ask that this year that you come and see what we are all about from the inside out, and see the things that we are looking to do. We put out a request to Bishop State and also to Spring Hill to see about creating a partnership with them to host our games this coming fall. And the reason why we want to do that is because we believe that through our association with them, that we can help them create the awareness that they are trying to create, because we're looking at having many of the games streamed, and our stream will go nationwide because it gives international teams an opportunity to look at our players. And so these are
Mr.
just some
McCants,
of the
I hate to
things.
interrupt you because I think you're on a roll, but if you could go ahead and wrap it up, we'd appreciate it.
Yes. And the final thing that we're looking to do is on the 14th of July, we will be hosting a business workshop for small businesses that shows them a way that they can leverage their business for continued growth. So we invite you to, help us do what we need to do. And we also ask that if you would maybe render a letter of support on the things that we are doing in the community, because if you are not looking at what we are doing, then it's difficult for the community as a whole to see the impact that we are trying to make. And I appreciate all of you for this opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
Mr. McCants, if you have anything that you can send us, maybe in a PDF form, something like that, all of the information on your workshop and some of the things that you're looking for the community maybe to get involved in, if you would send that to us, we have electronic newsletters that we send out every week, and we'd be happy to include that information.
Okay, I appreciate it. And I also brought some copies if you would like some today.
Sure, why don't you give them to Ms. Merchant and, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Resolutions held over. 01433, authorize amendment number 13 to the agreement with Tyler Technologies.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Resolution 09434, reallocate monies from capital project litter trap and site improvements to capital project citywide storm drains and pipes.
So moved.
Second, discussion, All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21435, authorized contract with Sustainable Strategies, DC, for a professional strategic funding plan.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
31436, authorize the mayor to execute, accept, and receive a grant agreement with Community Foundation of South Alabama to develop a 3 Mile Creek Greenway Trail Management Plan.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinances being introduced, numbered 64029 and 64030.
By council rules, ordinance 64029 and 64030 will be held over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03438 through 58446.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 03438 through 58446.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolutions 03438 and 439 appoint Thomas Jackson Jack Singleton Sr. to the History Museum of Mobile Board and appoint Ronald R. Davis to the Golf Course Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in,
Yes.
oh, Mrs.
Sorry,
Rich?
I'll be brief. I just want to thank Jack Singleton. He is a retired police officer, and he stepped forward to accept a position on the History Museum Board, and I know he'll be a great asset to that board, and I'd like to thank him in advance for his dedication to our community.
All right. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
37440, 441, 442, 443, and 444, recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer, table wine off premises for M&L Grocery Store on Costa Rita Street, for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package store for M&L Package Store on Costa Rita Street, for restaurant retail liquor for the Melting Pot on Mont Lamar Drive, for restaurant retail liquor for Rio Mexican Restaurant on Airport Boulevard, and a nonprofit tax exempt license for Bay Bites on July the 20th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
46445, renamed, that's right. Renamed Charity Lane to Willie Blackman Lane.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
58446, authorize removal of weeds, group 1541.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
CIP resolutions being introduced, 21447 and 60448.
Motion for the suspension of the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 21447 through 60448.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21447, authorized contract with Mobile Glass for Harmon Recreation Center glass replacements.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
60448, approve the proposed fiscal year 1617 council capital improvement plan.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Daves?
As several individuals have stated today, this is the approval for the year 2 in our 3-year capital improvement plan. There are projects that are going to be taken up in each of the 7 city council districts, drainage projects, repaving projects, excuse me, repairing our parks and recreation centers. It also includes money to maintain our museums and the many buildings that all of our citizens use across the city. I've said this before, I think it bears repeating. We have the money to do this for 2 reasons. Number one, the extra penny in the sales tax was extended for an additional 3 years. And number 2, we have achieved significant savings in the general fund. The general fund expenditures have actually decreased over the last 2 or 3 years by $15 million, which is unprecedented. Certainly, the mayor and his administration led the way, but the council also has been willing to hold the line on general fund expenses. And I think that's commendable. I think we will need to continue to hold the line on general fund expenses as we move forward if we are to continue with this kind of capital improvements going forward in the future. Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President,
Mr. Williams?
if I may dovetail on that, Mr. Dave says that we need to continue to save. We need to, as a body, very soon, concern ourselves with the extension of the 1 cent sales tax. And that is a decision that we do not need to delay. I will say this, that I was criticized greatly for voting for this extension. But at the same time, those people told me that you better come through on this one. In other words, we want to see the proof that what you say you're going to do with the money, you do just that. And this capital improvement plan, under the leadership of the mayor and his administration and the great participation of this council, has proven just that we're going to do what we say we're going to do with this plan. And I encourage everyone to, as Mr. Days pointed out this morning, once we put this thing in motion, at all costs, let it ride for this year and make our changes in the year to come. But I'm going to go back to this first statement. We need to discuss the continuation of the 1 cent sales tax if we're going to continue with the capital improvement plan, knowing that there are hundreds of millions of dollars of needs that still not have been addressed in this year and won't be in the next year, which is the only covered year left. Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Madam
Mr.
President.
Small?
Yeah, I would like to piggyback behind Councilmember Williams. When the penny sales tax had arose, I was one of the first ones to advocate for it. I said that if citizens see exactly where their tax money is going to, they will support the 1 cent sales tax. And in the past, they wasn't able to see it because of the economic depression that the country had went through during 2008. But now we arose from that, and now the citizens are able to see different things with the 1 cent sales tax, such as sidewalks, such as Ann Street, such as parks. And in the future, many people still want other, things done in their communities along their streets, such as Baltimore Street and Arlington Streets. We still are far behind in capital needs in our communities. So I am an advocate, and I also have several citizens that support me in advocating for this 1 cent sales tax to continue. As long as they're able to see the results, the citizens that I have heard from so far do support this 1 cent sales tax, and I'm going to advocate as long as we're able to show the citizens what their money is going towards. Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. I'm pleased to hear my colleagues speak of that 1 cent sales tax. And there was a wonderful committee that was established through this council. They have recommended some changes on how we receive that extra funding, such as an increase in property tax and lowering our sales tax. Our sales tax is not sustainable. Anything we're starting to hear about the stagnation of the extra penny because we are not doing it in a way that is economically developing this community. A 10% sales tax, one of the highest in the nation, does not help our businesses to compete. So I do hope that on the table will be discussions on other ways to fund our capital improvements, similar to how the county does every 2 years when they go for the pay-as-you-go. And again, we're a vibrant community, our businesses need to thrive, and a sales tax is not particularly a good tool to use. It's great when it's earmarked, and I understand that. I know where my colleagues are coming from, but it's not the tool to use. So I do hope we'll start discussing that, and I thank that willingness coming from the council. The committee is not been active. We've had small discussions with groups about looking at different ways to fund and to allocate those funds. and to bring the community to looking at their property tax as opposed to sales tax. And so, again, I hope that will be a big part of the discussion, and the earlier we start, the better. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Richardson?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. Let me say that I sponsored the ordinance to extend the penny out for 3 years and to divide $63 million over a 3-year period, 7 ways among the 7 council districts. I was confident then it was the right thing to do. I'm more confident now. We see lots of things happening in our community that would not be happening had we not extended that penny out and captured some of that revenue for council members to decide, get with people in our districts to decide what it is they would want us to do, and that's what we are doing, and that's why we have so much excitement inside of our communities, because citizens told us what they want us to do, and now they can see it being done. Today, we're voting on the 2016-2017 CRP projects, and we've got them all finalized, and I just would like to share with the people in District 1 what they can expect briefly. There are 3 categories that the bulk of the money, the $3 million, is going to go to based on citizens' input. It's going to drainage, resurfacing, and parks improvement. Now, we're going to do other things than that, more things than that, but that's the focus, going to be the focus point. One of the things we're going to be addressing is the drainage at Dome and Florida Street. We have businesses that every time we get a downpour, we have businesses that are flooded up there in that area. Water's going into the residents. We got new businesses coming up there, and we don't want this flooding condition to continue. It's going to cost almost $1 million to correct that situation, but we're going to get it done this year. Trinity Gardens, we have 42 open ditches. I believe by August, we're going to start closing some of those ditches, and that's the 2016 money. I'll put extra money in there for 2017, so we're going to continue until we run out of money, trying to close as many ditches as we can in the Trinity Gardens area. Resurfacing, O'Shea Road will be resurfacing. The county going to help with that. Mobile Street is going to be resurfaced from Dolphin to Spring Hill Avenue by UMS. There, Creek Circle, Wagner Street, and many other streets will be resurfaced. We're going to have improvements in all of our parks, Sage Avenue Park, which is Herndon Park, Aaron Park, Figures Park, and Trinity Gardens Park. There will be major improvements on the field and bringing other venues in there. For instance, in Trinity Gardens Park, there is not one bench for people to sit on. So I had a newsman riding with me, and he said, well, Councilman Richardson, when I go to Langham Park, I see all kind of people out there. When I come to Trinity Gardens Park, I don't see anybody. I said, well, if they came up here at 12 o'clock in the daytime, where would they sit? Are they just going to stand up in the sun? People are not stupid. Cows even go up under a shade tree and stand. We're going to put shade structures up there. We're going to plant some trees. We're going to have benches. We're going to have a pavilion. We're going to bring it up the par. So there will be major changes there. We're going to paint the Dutch Center. We got a lot of improvement that's going to go on over there. Get ready, citizens. A lot of good things will be coming your way.
All right, anyone else? Mr. Manzi?
Yes, Madam President. I want to join my colleagues in expressing my enthusiasm for this 2017 Capital Improvement Plan. Every community in District 2 will realize improvements. That's the goal. All of us pay into the resources by the extension of the penny sales tax, so every community will see improvements. Nearly $1 million will be expended improving our parks and rec system in District 2. That's not been unheard. That's unheard of relative to improvements for our community. a little over $1 million in street resurfacing will take place in District 2. Almost 40 streets will be resurfaced as a result of this plan. And that doesn't include the other items like guardrails and striping and things of that nature that we'll see improvements. So we ask again for your continued patience as we wade through this discussion. I'm also happy to hear that my colleagues are ready to take the issue up and see how do we move forward relative to the penny sales tax. There are a variety of ways that this committee has recommended. At the end of the day, all of them will realize you paying more money. And I think that's a robust discussion that we need to have as a community as to how do we take care of this long laundry list of long neglected, long-standing capital needs here in the city of Mobile. But we're happy that the 2016 program is going so well. Parks across District 2 are being improved now. You'll steadily see continued improvement in the future. And we will continue to have community meetings across District 2 to make certain that what's represented in future plans is representative of the needs and the concerns of our constituents. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think it's safe to assume that we're all very excited to see the capital improvement plan going forward. Again, a big thank you to everyone in the administration for working with us and putting this together. As has been noted already, drainage, sidewalk construction, sidewalk repairs, culvert repairs, traffic controls, parks improvements, striping, guardrails, you name it, and of course, a lot of drainage work throughout the city. In District 7, we are already using some of the 2017 CIP money for emergency repairs that are needed right now. And I'm just excited, very happy that that money was available, because if we kept waiting, that price tag would have gone sky high and would have been a much worse situation. So I'm just glad that we had the money available and we were able to work this out so that those drainage repairs can be done now. And that's happening throughout the city. Nick and his group have done a wonderful job working with us and making these things happen. Resurfacing of Old Shell Road, as Mr. Richardson mentioned, is going on right now. If you go down there, you see that they are doing some milling work, and we will go from basically McGregor Avenue all the way to Florida Street. Old Shell Road will finally be a nice, smooth road to ride on. I think a lot of people figured it would never happen, so we're excited to see that. In my district alone, we'll be doing well over $1.3 million in resurfacing, and that includes the pay-as-you-go program that the county commission is getting ready to put on the ballot in November. And we are very thankful for their partnership in making this happen. Did you want to say one other thing, Mr. Richardson? All right.
Madam President, with all of this new resurfacing coming, if we're not careful about next year, most of those streets will be cut to pieces. I would like to call a committee meeting, Public Services Committee meeting, to take a look at what's happening to our streets. A lot of the streets I'm having to resurface is because they've been just cut to pieces, just cut. Go to Somerville at Costa Rica Street and start down Somerville Street and just cut. And you can, there is not one street in the Hotoville area is not cut up, not one. So we can't continue to allow another company to come into our community to destroy our infrastructure, and we say nothing, not do anything, because they're not going to stop them unless we make them stop. We need to take a look at this to see what can be done to put an end to this. When we fix the street, that street ought to stay fixed. If anybody messes it up, they ought to pay them. They ought to pay to mess it up. And we are paying to refix what somebody else messed up. So I would like to have, I would like to announce a Public Services Committee meeting, bring all parties to the table to see how we're going forward with this, because I have had enough in District 1 of my streets being cut up.
Yeah, well, I think we've all had enough. Nick, I know you've been working on this very diligently with Mobile Gas, Alabama Power, Moz, all of the different utilities that do tend to come in and have to make repairs that cause some of the problems that Mr. Richardson is mentioning.
Yes, and the reason I was pressing the council to give me those lists very early on is so that I can get those lists to
To them.
Moz. In fact, this morning, those lists were provided to Maws's, to my counterpart at Maws, so that if there's problems, if they have a street that has known sewer issues, they can let us know in advance to stay away from that street until they address it. So we coordinate often, we coordinate,
As best you can.
as best we can. Unfortunately, when the utility breaks, the utility has to be repaired. We can't just let it go unrepaired.
Nick, go ahead.
Well, some of these things we can probably address. I know we've talked about this before, but some of these things we may need to address in committee as to how much they go back and repair, how large a section that they actually repair. Is it just one little patchwork here, or is it the entire length of the street to make it a smooth ride preferably? But I think those are some things that you have to work out with.
Right, there's a number of their permits when
Yeah.
they come in, when they pull a permit,
Right.
depending on the extent of what they're doing, they have to resurface the entire street. So quite often, when their repair work is gonna exceed 10% of the block, Maws or any other utility for that matter has to resurface the entire street. So we
Right.
work with them, but I mean, it's old infrastructure, so
Yeah.
it's a challenge.
Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say?
I just want to say, this is a new way, new day, and there will be a new way. We're not going to continue to do what we're doing. It's a new day.
Thanks,
I-
Nick,
I
appreciate it.
would like to
Ms.
add
Rich?
something, because I didn't bring this out, but when citizens look at the list, they'll notice that the allocations do not come out to 3 million even for each of the districts. However, it's been pledged, and I believe this to be the case because District 6 has been under that for 2 years in a row. So next year, when the allocations are made, District 6 will be way up there in order to equal out to the 9 million that every district was to see within the 3-year phase. So just pay attention to that, and oftentimes, people just kind of assumed it was going to be 3 million,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly
map
right.
out like that. There's also money for planning, there's also money for reserves, for overruns, for weather-related issues, and for a lot of issues that come up in neighborhoods like drainage inlets, that in the past, you had to go a very long time till you saw that curb repaired. But this go-around will be able to get in there, and when 311 or your council person gets aware of what is broken, those small things, they tend to fall through the cracks, but it's very annoying to people when they're not repaired because only the city can do those kind of repairs. So again, look at it with that type of eye, and I'll say to the citizens that I represent, when you see the list and you have questions, please feel free to call me.
Madam President, just one more thing, to piggyback on what Councilman Dave has stated earlier, that the success of the general fund, one reason of the success of the general fund, because we had cut several agencies out, nonprofit agencies throughout the city. And the city is in the business of, for services for people, not in the business of saving money. I'm going to urge the administration, we know that the budget year is coming up, 16 and 17, to make sure that we plug in and put in for the public safety of our first responders, because we're in critical need of trying to keep, professionals from having a great overturn within the system itself. So again, I'm going to encourage the administration to invest more into our first public safety, because we need to make sure that our officers are equipped with equipment, and also making sure that they are receiving a fair compensation in the jobs that they do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Councilor Small. I can assure you, you will have an opportunity to affirm something that will help our first responders, especially our policemen. Also, Councilor Richardson, I'd like to remind you that in the protocol of what we do, the city employees, Nick Amberger specifically, this is a new day. We're all excited about what we're doing, but they do take direction from us. And I just want to make sure that we all stay in our lanes about, instructing them on, what they will be doing. It is very difficult to coordinate with malls and with the power company, everybody involved, and they do an outstanding job of doing that. And so I don't know that they need to be reminded, because when something breaks, they have to fix it. And I think that if you look at what's occurred in the last 2 or 3 years, the way it's been approached is better than maybe it's been done in the past, and if it's not, we'll continue to do a better job, but I just don't want us to overstep, the direction so that they get mixed signals about what we're trying to do.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I would just like to say that I don't believe I'm crossing any lanes now. I don't believe I'm doing that. It's unlimited what the council can do to correct situations. For instance, the city, when they have to get a permit to cut into our streets, they have to get a permit. The council can charge, can enact an ordinance to say, if you're gonna cut our streets, then you got to put this much money down when you get that permit. And we can assign that money into a fund to resurface streets where we don't have to beg them to resurface the same street they cut up. The funds would already be there. There are things that we can do as a council. We can pass ordinance to make sure that when they get through cutting up our streets, it's funding necessary to resurface those streets that they cut up. I'm not crossing anybody's lane. We have the power to do that. We need to take a look at that. When I ride through Hunterville, their streets not cut to pieces. When I ride through Montgomery, their streets are not cut to pieces. And if we don't do anything to stop them, they're going to continue to cut our streets. But if we put some measures in there, they'll find a way not to cut the street if they have to pay. They figure out how not to cut the street. What is it to stop them from? The easiest thing to do is just cut that street. You add a fee to that, they'll figure out another way to get it done without cutting our streets up. Don't know about, they're not done it nowhere else. Done it here at the city of Mobile.
Madam President, it's time for a question here.
Well, anybody else? Floor is still open. We haven't voted yet. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 37449.
By council rules, resolution 37449 would lay over for 1 week.
Announcements?
All right, we'll start with Mr. Manzi.
No announcements.
All right, Mr. Daves?
No announcements.
Well, Mr. Richardson? I know that's not going to continue.
No, it's not going to continue. I would
Yeah.
just like to announce that we've already passed the resolution, but they will start very soon to putting sidewalks on the west side of Mobile Street, starting at Knoll Street. That would complete the process. We would have sidewalks on both sides of Mobile Street, all the way from Springfield Avenue to USA Hospital. We expect that to start real soon. I would like to say that we passed today a resolution dealing with sustainable strategies. What I hope to happen with that is that we're going to have a consultant to come. I'm going straight to those ditches in Trinity Gardens to see if they can help us find funding to close up those ditches. I don't think there ought to be an open parallel ditch running in front of no home in the city of Mobile, nowhere. But the Trinity Gardens, I have a number of those ditches. The whole neighborhood is seeded with open parallel ditches, so we don't have the capacity here in the city to close those ditches. We're going to need some help, and hopefully this company is going to help us to get that done. I would just like to say that the Stone Street Baptist Church will be celebrating its 210th anniversary on the 17th. We are 13 years older than the state of Alabama that organized in 1819, and we are just 30 years younger than the United States of America. We just celebrated our 240th birthday. We will be celebrating our 210th birthday, making it 30 years difference between the two. So we're going to invite all our officials to be with us on the 17th, July 17th, where we celebrate the birth of the oldest Baptist church in the state of Alabama, the historic Stone Street Baptist Church. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, Mrs. Rich?
Thank you so much. I would like to also thank Shoe Station and all of the citizens who bought shoes. You said, the mayor mentioned over $15,000 was their contribution towards our fireworks. I hope that's a relationship that goes well into the future. It was a spectacular evening, and I know our 240th birthday is quite an accomplishment. We should all pat ourselves on the back. We have the best place on the planet. So I hope everyone did enjoy themselves. I know that the Pops Band was out there, and I thank them for their service. It's such an enjoyable, adds to the event immensely. My office was able to give the discretionary funds so that they could play. And I'm hoping, since we saved some money with our fireworks contract, that the administration would consider the Pops Band and that this council would then affirm funding the Pops Band, because they do go to different places within our city. Those concerts are free. They are so enjoyed. And so I just wanted to point out and connect the dots there. And also, if, like I said earlier, if anybody has any questions about the CIP funding and the list from my district, please feel free to call me, and I'll point you in the right direction if I don't have the answer for it. And I'd also like the administration to, I know they're aware of this in parks, the scoreboard at Medal of Honor, there was a windstorm that cropped up and took that scoreboard out. And the group is going to be starting up again soon. I know we can't turn it on a dime, but the group needs to know what the city's plans are. I've looked at my discretionary funds. I'll be more than happy to help using the District 6 discretionary funds. They're not mine, they belong to the community. But I need to know what Parks and Recreation has discovered on the cost and how we can replace what was damaged out at Medal of Honor Park. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Small?
Thank you, Madam President. Soon we will be announcing the District 3 Back to School Rally that we have every year since I've been on council. The committee is meeting, and hopefully next week I will give you the day, time, and place. And we're also working on many other activities throughout the district. We'll be announcing soon. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, Mr. Williams?
No, thank you.
All right, in District 7, we've already announced that the Old Shell street resurfacing is ongoing and will be ongoing for quite some time. So if you live in the area or use Old Shell Road for your daily commutes, just be aware. They have to work on one lane at a time, so one lane will be shut down for the various work that's going on, but the other lane will be open. And please do continue going to the businesses that are on Old Shell Road. Don't be deterred. They are all still open and need your business and support. Also, this Saturday, we are holding a Mobile Terrace Community Cleanup. We will start and end at McCants Chavers Park for the cleanup and after cleanup activities. At the after cleanup, we'll have a nice little party for everyone, hot dogs and drinks, as well as McGruff the Crime Dog, a fire truck, Bay Bears mascot, and much more. So everyone is invited to come on out, help us clean up the neighborhood, and then stay for a little fun in the sun, as it were. But we do have new shade structures up, so it will be cool, and the splash pad is supposed to be working, so everyone can get down there and play and keep cool and just celebrate getting out and doing something good for the community. Anybody else? Any questions, any discussion, announcements? All right, thank you. We are adjourned.